questions that have to do with the discussion for the experiment where we were looking at the lime water. Okay? All right. So these questions here are designed to help you think about what you're supposed to be doing when it comes to your discussion section of your experiment. One component is assessing, figuring out, determining, explaining what happened in front of you. Why did it happen? So in your results, what you're collecting together is what you observe. Whereas in the discussion, you're explaining your observations. So that's different, okay? So in order for you to figure that out, I've written some questions to help you consider what kinds of things you need to be thinking about in order to come up with this conclusion. So with question 1, what is lime water? Lime water is a solution of calcium hydroxide in water. Now, what does that mean? For those of you who are unsure about that, what that means is it is calcium hydroxide dissolved in some water. That's what that is. That's what a solution of calcium hydroxide in water is talking about. Okay? If you wanted to be really intense and specific, you would say roughly 1.5 grams. You don't have to do this, but this is super unnecessary. Roughly 1.5 grams of calcium hydroxide dissolved in a liter of water. And so that's what it is. But that's not helping me determine like what's the purpose of it, because we're using that to do something. So what is lime water? So even though the question doesn't specify, we would like to know what's its purpose. So lime water is used to detect the presence of carbon dioxide. That's its purpose. Okay. How would you know that? Well, if you Googled this, right? If you went to lime water experiment, okay, or just lime water, you can see it right there. Lime water is a common name for a dilute aqueous, just meaning water solution of calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide is sparsely soluble at room temperature, roughly 1.5 grams per liter at room temperature. That's what I said. Now, yeah. So a good place to look at is bite size. I just spelled that wrong. Bite size. It's a United Kingdom website, a United Kingdom education website for high schoolers. And so there's some really good information there about lime water, as you can see here. Reaction with lime water, carbon dioxide reacts with lime water to form a white precipitate. It appears milky of calcium carbonate, CO3. That's going to be important for later. So I'll just copy and paste that. All right, cool. Question 2. Did a chemical reaction occur? Yes. How do I know? Okay, so if we look at the physical signs of a chemical reaction, that's how you demonstrate that, right? So how do I know? Yes, a chemical, let's do bad English and start the sentence with because. or I could write this. I know this because a new substance, which was the white milky substance, appeared in the lime water. So the key there is that a new substance appeared. That's how you know a chemical reaction occurred. That's how you know. Okay? So by writing it that way, I'm trying to answer this question for you, Josh, because this is the one that you asked me about. I know this because a new substance appeared in the lime water. Okay? So, excellent. Question 3. What is in my breath? Now, there are 3 main substances that your breath is made of. So, yes, Josh. And nitrogen, thank you. Yeah, so other gases is not a thing, that's a group of things. So, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and nitrogen. So, what is the purpose of me asking that question to help you do this discussion? Yeah, that's what you need to be thinking about. Why this question? Well, it's because it's the thing that's different in the experiment. It's the thing that when you're breathing into it, when you're blowing into the solution, you're starting to see something change. So when you're investigating this, that's what you want to do, right? You need to figure out like what's the source of this issue, of this change. So we've got our carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, and then question 4. Question 4 is which of these substances in my breath could be reacting with lime water? So now you need to figure out, well, which one of these reacts with the calcium hydroxide? Is it going to be calcium hydroxide and carbon dioxide? Is it going to be calcium hydroxide and oxygen? Is it going to be calcium hydroxide and nitrogen? We already know what the answer is to that, but that's the process. You're trying to investigate, like, what is the cause of the issue in front of me, okay, in the experiment. So it's that one. How do we know? Well, because that's what lime water is used for, so we can take a good guess about that. If you wanted to be thorough, you would then look at, well, does oxygen react with calcium hydroxide? Does nitrogen react with calcium hydroxide? So you can confidently say that it's not those two things. Okay? And that's how you would do that. Okay, so for now, we're just going to cross it out. And then the last one, what is the chemical reaction that's occurring there? So I know it's calcium hydroxide and carbon dioxide, right? And because I want to write a word equation, I'm going to use a plus sign instead. And if I want an arrow, if you didn't know this, that's 2 dashes and then the greater sign. The greater sign is the symbol where your full stop is on your keyboard. So when you do this, it turns into an arrow. You see that? So what I'm putting together is one of these, and one of these, but I'm doing it all together. So if you've got, most of you got your laptops open, you should do this so that you know that that exists. Arrow. Okay? Cool beans? All right, so what does it make? Well, you can just Google that, right? You can just Google that. You can just write down calcium hydroxide and carbon dioxide. It makes calcium carbonate. And it forms a white precipitate. Precipitate meaning a solid that does not dissolve, okay? So, yes, sir. Yes. Yes, it is. Yep, so the solid that doesn't dissolve is what a precipitate is. That's a technical science jargony word for that. Yes, sir. Huh? Well, you could, all right? You just have to wait for a while. You're, yeah, yeah. If you gave it a day, then you'll see it. So it's gonna make calcium carbonate, and I believe water is the other ingredient. Now that is the word equation. How do I know? Because it is made of words. And if I wanted to write down the chemical equation, it would look something like this. So Ca, right? Now brackets OH. Now I want a smaller 2. To do that, you can either press here. See there? See this symbol here? That's going to give you the subscript 2. Okay, I need to select it and then there, right? Or the keyboard shortcut for that is Command equals plus sign 2, see? And then Command plus sign again to reverse it. And then there it is, that's my chemical, and then I'm going to do CO2 now. CO, I want the smaller 2, Command plus sign, press the 2, Command plus sign, undo that, give myself an arrow, and then calcium carbonate is CaCO3, small 3, Command plus sign, plus the H2O, H, Command plus sign, 2, undo that, and then there it is. Woohoo! And that's how you can do chemical symbols, formulas, and things like that on your Word document processing platform. In this case, Microsoft Word. Command plus sign. And then if you don't want to do it anymore, you press it again. Okay? All right. There it is. And what you're actually seeing is this substance here being produced, the calcium carbonate. Okay? And there you go. So, how do I